Hey, Vibe Tribe, this is Jess Venus with Lifeforceenergy. Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone doing with this Aries new moon energy? I know it can be very intense, and it also has as everything has a balance, it can be very um, emotional and very aggressive nature. This is where the fierceness comes in. And being that it's the first sign of the zodiac, that playfulness, that new beginnings, new projects, new demeanor, new perspective, new you. So I wanted to discuss about this a little further because I've had a couple clients that were reaching out in regards to what they were experiencing after receiving energy healings during a very intense period in the month of April. So I wanted to kind of address this because a lot of the times we're not very clear about why we're experiencing what we're experiencing. So I wanted to kind of touch bases about how the moon affects us. And I'm sure many of you are going to be able to relate to what is going on here. So I'm going to take a look at my notes here. I got a lot. So let's talk about how the moon affects us. First and foremost, humans were about 70% made of water. And we have discovered and understand that the new moon and the full moon, the moon in general has a gravitational pull just on our oceans, our seas, the tides, right? And so can you imagine, as our vessels that are filled with 70% of water, what it is doing to us internally and how it's influencing our lives externally. So let's talk about that. We know that as is, there's a gravitational pull, and it's at its strongest during a new moon and a full moon. So we as humans and those that are experiencing highs and lows, just like the tides of the oceans, we will be experiencing even emotional and thought-like waves that are going to reveal to us what we have been not very aware of at the time because we're so distracted for many reasons that we all deal with at one level or another. So our emotions are being pulled upwards to the surface and our feelings are heightened, especially after you've done energy work. Energy work, what I like about what energy does, because again, we're talking about energy, period. Energy is in everything. It's energy from the moon, energy in our water, energy in our vessels, energy surrounding and everything in inanimate objects and animate persons. We are dealing with so much frequency and pulling of energy that we need to understand why we feel what we feel, especially how we're being influenced by the moon in Aries. Aries represents the god of war. So that is a lot that you're taking on, especially when you're doing clearings. Energy work, what it does, I like to use a symbol, like an illustration of an onion. And so here is the onion component, and we know that there are layers to that onion that's representing you. So when energy goes in deep into the center core of your soul, your spirit, it pulls up cell energy memories from present and from past timelines. I believe in what I've studied and just in my own personal experiences and in my practice that we are a hologram of past, present, and future. So there is this continuum of energy that influences us and our characteristics and how we are portrayed to others and how we deal in action. So energy, when it goes inside our life force, which is our solar plexus, that's like our cell battery, we are working and clearing out energy. What it does, it goes and it hones in, it starts looking for the areas that are inside of us, whether it's on the physical and metaphysical levels of our field. And it's showing us the areas that are necessary to be brought forward to the surface for us to deal with and then for it to move forward. So yes, the storm shall pass. And I wanted to explain about what's happening because a lot of the times we are not familiar with the moon's energy. So we think, okay, the new moon was on April 11th, 2021. People don't realize that as the moon enters, already at least 3 days prior to the moon coming in full force, we're already being influenced. Our sleep rhythms are being altered. There are studies that have shown that people experience 30% less deep sleep during the full moon as compared to the rest of the month. Changes even in sleep during new moon cycles. So anytime that the moon is at a high intensity frequency, you're going to have dramatic effects happening to you, especially in your overall mood. You're going to start feeling more irritability, decreased concentration and focus, impatience, emotional outbursts, intensities, elevated levels of the stress hormone called the cortisol. Now, I'm talking about how energy does that right now. We're going to also go back into doing the 8. Aries. What is Aries about? Well, Aries is the warrior of the universe. It's fierce energy. This is how we are learning about this powerhouse of Aries is the dynamic, driving, aggressive, forceful energy. And it's about this theme that because of what we're going through, it's like the control versus freedom. And I think my astrologist, Pam, and my other studies that I have been able to gain a greater clarity to be able to know how to vocalize it, because it's one thing to be clear cognizant and just to know, but it's another thing to have to explain it in a manner that would be easier to receive and understand. So I'm going to do my best in this. Okay, so Aries is an aggressive warrior energy, which I love, like as well, when we are able to tune in our focus on how we want to use this amazing force that is impacting our globe at the moment. Some of us will use this energy to be very focused, driven, ambitious, motivated. We get organized, we get aggressive, like nothing's going to stop us from doing what we are called to do in our lives, whether it's personally and or professionally. So that's what's happening to me. I have chosen to use this Aries energy to make me very assertive, directive, empowered, strengthened, and driven. So I'm ramming and I'm harnessing that full moon energy. Now, for those of that are still working on those shadow selves or in the energetic aspect of being cleansed, say you've never received a healing before and you're getting it during this intense, magnetic, aggressive Aries energy, well, those things that were deep seated inside of you, the attachments to people, places, situations, circumstances that you may not even have realized had rocked the core of your solar, of your life force, and you get cleansed during this time, it comes right up to the surface and it starts showing you, and you start feeling, because a lot of it, you may not have understood how to deal with it at the time. And like I tell my vibe tribe, a lot of the times we do the fight and flight mode, and it's really for the sake of protecting our sanity. And so we do it as a self-preservation manner. And so when things get a little bit much, we pull out and we kind of go through like, I don't want to deal. So we shut that off and we just kind of look for other ways of being distracted to help us to maintain such energetic influences and to be able to manage the irritability, the frustration, the anger, feeling overwhelmed, overstimulated. And then all of a sudden you do the energy work during this timeline, boom, it comes out and it's like a bomb. And so we get like, what happened? Did something wrong? No, actually something great is happening to you. You're going through a death rebirth cycle. And so as we go through that, imagine goddesses, those who have been able to deliver children. I mean, are we doing it like, oh, this feels like a massage? Are we, and we're breathing it through, and we're pushing. We're literally on the cusp of life and death as we are transferring our life force to the soul to manifest and come out of our yoniverse, out of our womb, one way or another. Doesn't matter how it came out. They came out of our portal. So imagine these intense energies that are being birthed through us, and then we're getting healed. It's a lot. It's a lot. And that's why I call it the biorhythms, as we are purging and releasing, and it comes up and it's showing us. And then all of a sudden it's like, and that's what I want to share. It's like, as the storms are happening, you're going to have to learn the cycles of the energies that must surface that were keeping you like imprisoned and keeping you very stuck. And so what I had written here is, this is a great time to focus in on your own frequency so that you can rise above the chaos that is currently emitted in our planet and when you're doing energy work, because what we're doing is essentially the life force energy, the modalities, whatever you're using as a shaman, medicine woman, whatever aspects, however you use the tools we're doing, the whole sole purpose is to bring out what no longer serves us. Yeah, the characteristics that have been very difficult for us and aggressive and even demeaning to our psyche, it has to come out. So you are going to recognize that when you're doing energy work and you're doing it during a time of a lunar cycle, during an astrological triunity of you're dealing with the galaxy, you're dealing with the planet that you're currently on, and then you're dealing with the energy that is all coming up to surface. So when you are learning to know how to deal with these frequencies, listen, there's different ways that you can bring to cultivate more of an inner peace and calmness as you're going to go through those tides. There isn't anything we can do to stop it. In fact, I know I let my vibe tribe know that you are going to experience, you are not broken, you are actually breaking free from the slavery of whatever energetic influences you've had in the past and the current timelines. They are intertwined. They are constantly in motion inside of you, regardless what age, gender, religion, preference, I don't care. You are on this planet to experience what you were called to do through your soul's plans and desires in your life's journey. So what I want to share is that this is a time where you could allow yourselves to have those emotional outbursts. Those who have starseed children like mine were heightened and sensitive. My children sometimes cannot sleep at all, and they now understand. They're not afraid. They don't feel as though there's something wrong. They know what they're dealing with because they're highly intuitive vessels that are also being altered by what is happening in the metaphysical realm. So they get it and they understand it. And the one that's littler, she knows that it's not of anything to be afraid. We explain to her about emotions and about how the earth works, and sometimes how the earth is moving and shifting, and it's going through its own changes of releasing, of growing, of going deep, and bringing it up to surface is also going through it with us. And I call it Mother Earth. So I wanted to explain about how you could calm those moments of heightened frequencies. If you have children like I do, and they're little, and they are going to, can you imagine, we as adults, we're experiencing so much already emotionally, mentally, and those of us who are awake and aware, we're like, we have memes about it now. We just got to laugh about it and be like, damn, it is what it is. And we joke about it because we're at a place of acceptance and progression and growth and change. What about those who are not aware? What about children? Children don't even know how to express themselves as is. Like I have a 5-year-old going on 13, and she and herself, especially being the vessel that she is, she's very heightened. And so we give her opportunity in an appropriate manner to express herself. And especially with the lack of sleep, come on. I mean, as is children and adults, if we don't get the amount of sleep that we are necessarily accustomed to, we are going to be irritable. We are going to be difficult. In fact, we are pretty sensitive. We may not even want you near us. And then we want you near us at the same time because we don't want to be alone, because we're looking for that security because there's so much happening. So for your children, I would suggest energy baths. You could put crystals like rose quartz, crystal quartz. If you have energy waters from Alafi or from any other beautiful light workers on this planet, utilize them, pour some, let your children get cleansed, refreshed, let them play. My daughter, we give her, we do our energy waters, we put our crystals in there, she gets to play with them, she's got her toys, and she is in a different mood. In fact, she's even more chill, relaxed, and then she's able to rest again. So using those opportunities are great, and play some beautiful music throughout your house. If there's a lot of intense energies everyone is releasing, adult, children, pets, what have you, put some great frequencies. There's so many free music that you can look for under YouTube, Spotify, what have you. They're there. Utilize those tools. You also want to make sure that you are the momentum, taking the power and reclaiming the peace and serenity back in your space. You have to be the driving force. If you're waiting on it, then you're going to just have to deal with all the crashing waves that are going to happen and let it smooth out in its time. Whichever course you're going to take, it's going to serve you. But I like it a little smoother because I have a rather large household. And then just because of the community that I serve, I make sure that I'm in a frequency where it's more gentle, relaxed, at peace. I take on my emotions, I get present, I feel it, and I release it. Another way, my friends, is take your children or take yourselves out into nature. You guys have been watching my page. I have been out in nature because I know how real these thoughts and feelings manifest within ourselves and in our environment. So get out, let your kids, let yourself run amok, take bikes, take some food, do a picnic, ground, put music on, get your children instruments, let them bang it out, take a pan that you have in the kitchen. I used to be a daycare provider for 24 years. And even if I didn't have, the said, toys. God, kids love bubble wrap. Let them pop it out, give them Play-Doh, give them something to manipulate. They got to get that energy to flow through them because they don't know how even to explain to you. They're not very familiar with what's going on when we adults are just discovering that ourselves. So give them artwork, give them things to paint, go outside, let them get dirty. Let them have a good time in Mother Earth's playground so that they can get the kinetic energy, that grounding circuitry that comes upwards from the planet and helps your child and yourself to get those intense frequencies to filter through as they will, because there's no way stopping it. You just gotta, it is like when you're about to use the bowel movement, you could try to stop it. Do you want to keep it stopped in the center? I know that sounds very vulgar, but I'm trying to explain that shit happens and these storms really do happen. So I call them the shit storms. And so that's how it feels in the soul work when you are clearing, especially if it's your first time. You guys are confident and courageous and you guys are ready. That means you are very dedicated to move forward and no longer be stuck. And seriously, at this time, as we're discovering, we are using this driving force of Aries new moon that is the great awakener. It's very intensifying. We are moving upwards into another level. We are not even the same people we were in 2020. Can you relate? I know I can. So I'm looking at here what I have written because I write a lot when I'm channeling. So I was explaining about how we can use, what can we do to chill out when it's like this? Now, also, so we talked about manipulatives, artwork, connecting to the earth, getting some water, getting some elements. You can go ahead and even do dancing, exercise, get your children, get yourselves out there. Allow your kids to have moments. This is what we do with our daughter. She is a Leo, so she's very lioness energy. We literally get on the floor and we look at each other and we pretend that we're little lions and we kind of get towards each other and we do a roar. So we go, I tell her to breathe in and we go, roar. It's very empowering, very liberating. So that way my child can have controlled, I guess, in a sense of emotional outbursts than when we're taking her somewhere and then it just comes up like the oceans. That wave of intensity just comes through. So we do our best to give her the opportunity to release. We want to honor that inside of her because as already is, we know as adults, it's difficult. How much more for children? So you want to give your children an opportunity in a safe space where it's not overwhelming to people around in the environment. Give an opportunity or give your child a pillow and go, Rah! Then afterwards, I give my child mantras to say, I am peace, I am happy, I am safe, I am loved. And I teach her to breathe and I have her have crystals in her hands. We have our energy waters surrounding her. We give her a safe place to release. And I say these tips for those who have children that are like mine, that are very highly sensitive to the global impact that is happening from the universe, that is entering the planet Earth and how it influences us as vessels. And so I hope these ideas can brew up more ideas that would be personal and be perfect for your family. I wanted to share something also. I'm sure I wrote it somewhere here. These storms, when these moon phases happen, we are aware that it affects our sleep. We're aware that it affects our mood and our emotions. How do we work with the mystical force? I gave you some ideas. The other way that you guys could use is sound mantras. Giving your child and yourself an opportunity to sound out. Our throat is projecting healing and clearing and manifestation into our lives. And so we want to learn how to master this internal state of gratitude and appreciation and welcoming manifestations in the present tense as it's already happening. So these are great opportunities that you can use with your children. And it's so empowering. It really unifies the family. It really helps the child to be like, it's okay to be human. Absolutely. We're just teaching our children and ourselves how to do it safely and appropriately, but freely at the same time. Let me take a look here. So currently, a lot of people think that when the moon energy comes in, that it's only on the date. There's also what I like to call the after shadow effect as it starts pulling. So we know that we had here in Pacific Standard Time on April 11th, new moon in Aries, the cardinal fire sign, that drive, that anger, that warrior energy is here. But it also goes ahead and that moon energy is moved on to April 12th in the UK. Well, after April 12th, then we're going to have so many days as it starts to leave further away from our atmosphere. Then those intensities you should have already processed and progressed. Then you're more like, there is clouds on the horizon. So like, you know, that's the storms that I like to address. It's like, to me, they're called like the energetic storms that happen within us. And that's a time when anything that has been difficult in our, you know, in our persons is also showing up in the external world within ourselves and our emotional life. And so as the shadow starts to doing that, you're going to start feeling that. The difficulty may seem closer at hand when the moon is in our horizon, in our sphere, because it is. And I hope that I explained a little bit about, you know, the Aries energy. That it's amazing when you know how to channel that force of energy. It just becomes a great tool at your hand to build on a beautiful foundation so you can have a new chapter in your lives. I've also noticed during this time with Aries moon energy, people get more fearful of whatever they're dealing with at the time. And I'm going to tell you, don't allow that fear to overtake. Become more conscious of what you're feeling and why, and start looking into it. For those who are adults and are capable, the children, depending on the child's age group and their awareness and their awakening, you're going to have to help them to be like, why are you upset? And you're going to have to pay attention to your child and see, was it something that they wanted that they couldn't get? Was it something that, and it's usually, again, because it's control versus freedom in regards to this Aries moon, you know, are you feeling that as an adult? Like something didn't go through. I'm upset about it. I'm angry. A lot of the times, friends, when things are delayed or it doesn't happen, is because you're making room for something better. And so that's why it's not happening. Now, when you're able to look at the situation with greater clarity and you're starting to dissect, because I call it digging, that's what I was taught in theta healing, we're digging. We're becoming investigators of energy in our lives and the environment that we're in, so we can understand what's happening, and honoring ourselves and our intentions, and understanding and giving ourselves grace about why we're being influenced in such a way. Remember this, the storm is only for a while. It too shall pass. Stand up for yourself and take action on your own behalf. And that's what I've been hearing a lot lately in my meditations, is stand up for yourself. So a lot of us, and even our children, are standing up like, no, I'm going to stay up later. My daughter did that to me even last night. She was like, I was like, it's time to go to bed. Well, how could she? Of course, because of the new moon energy, and being who she is. She's very gifted. We like to call her like, Jack from The Incredibles. We're like, oh my gosh, she's got so many of our characteristics and then her own. So tightly packed in her cute little package. Don't let her sweetness fool you, because she has got lion energy like nobody's business. But like I was saying, this is a time where you, during these storm energies that are happening, you can gain greater understanding. Your power is going to be defined in a greater manner, and your wisdom is going to help you to get through the way of all of the things that are happening. So we remember I was talking about the shadow part. Let's talk about how it starts to go away. God, let's talk about, yay, the dark times start to go behind you. So you're not having to deal with it so greatly and intense. You'll start feeling those mood swings, the frustrations, the realizations, the self-reflection that has been really calling your attention. You're going to start feeling the frustration, all of that was difficult and intense, the inner conflict, it's going to fall away. And then you're going to become more receptive and understanding. And then you're going to be like, oh, okay, I can breathe. Just remember, friends, that even as a storm happens, the skies are going to clear. The sun will shine again, and there will be better times ahead of you on the horizon. New light is going to come as you are going to have a greater understanding and clarity. You will reassess what you went through during these storms of energy, of especially with that beautiful power fire energy. It's a purification energy, you guys. I love fire. That's why I joined with the Holy Fire Reiki. Fire, if you don't know how to handle it, it will burn you. However, fire and its intensity, its beauty, its purification element, what it does, it refines you. It takes that refining fire and it takes away the parts of our surface and the inner depths of ourselves that was no longer necessary, and it brings it up to the surface to clear and purify us once again, to restore us and make us even greater due to this new clearings that we are receiving, whether you're receiving actual energetic healings or you're just being influenced because of the moon energy that is happening. This is a good time to reflect after the moon energies, like in the next few days. Today is April 13th, so around 14th through the 16th, you'll start feeling more relaxed because the difficulties will pass. And again, it's not going to be completely gone, because when you are bringing up a new version of yourself, the old version must pass away. So you'll go through your mourning. You'll go through those moments where you feel sad and a little empty because that old energy is being gone, but don't worry, that new life force is going to come in and fill it in and make it even better and healthier for you. This is all about your self-love, your own empowerment. Remember to bring these intentions up to the surface as you're learning these new lessons, as we're all being influenced by this, because you are going to be led into a brighter new path. Here's an affirmation that I've been using and I'd like to share with you. I have the power to overcome any obstacle, no matter what is going on. I can be strong, confident, and self-directed. Listen, my friends, this too shall pass, and just embrace that fire energy. Don't let it burn you. Know how to use it to bring new life within yourself and in your outer environment. I hope this kind of gives some kind of clarity for a lot of you. I know that it's been difficult as we've been all experiencing this new revival. I like to call it, to me, it's like a rebirth that not only is the planet going through, we are growing through it as well. So I want to share with all of you, allow this opportunity to, again, focus on your own frequency, rise above this chaotic energy, use it as a driving force to empower you and to continue to grow. Remember, you're not the same person you were on April 13th on 2020. In fact, everything that happened in your external world had done something major in your internal world. And there's nothing to be afraid of that. It's just learning how to go with the waves, how to, roll with the tides of everything, and know that this too shall pass. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to share with you. I wanted to kind of go over that because I thought, this is a big deal. And I have had an opportunity to study more in regards to the planets, and I'm still got a lot to learn. but I've learned it because I wanted to understand, because of me working with frequencies, I'm energy. I wanted to know why it was being influenced and how it was working with me so that I can have a better clarity and acceptance and receptivity so that I'm not going against the grain. I'm just moving and flowing. So that's what I hope for all of you. Thank you again. Much love, insight, and healing to each of you. Bye-bye.